Today we're going to talk about singular and plural nouns. You have two objectives. You will learn to identify and use singular and plural nouns in your writing. And also, when given a singular noun, you'll learn to form its plural. A singular noun names one person, place, thing, or idea. For example, boy, girl, book, church, and box. A plural noun names more than one person, place, thing, or idea. For example, boy becomes boys, girls become girls, book becomes books, church becomes churches, and box becomes boxes. The first rule is to add s to most nouns. For example, lamp becomes lamps, cat becomes cats, fork becomes forks, flower becomes flowers, and pen becomes pens. Rule number 2 is to add es to nouns that end in s, sh, ch, x, or z. For example, moss becomes mosses, box becomes boxes, and dish becomes dishes. Rule number 3 is to add s to most nouns that end in o. Some examples are radio becomes radios, solo becomes solos, halo becomes halos, and piano becomes pianos. But rule number 4 shows us that you add es to a few nouns that end in o. For example, hero becomes heroes with an es, volcano becomes volcanoes, grotto becomes grottos, and potato becomes potatoes. Just kidding. You pronounce it the same, potatoes. Rule number 5. For most nouns ending in y, you change the y to I and add es. In this case, galaxy becomes galaxies, country becomes countries, city becomes cities, and party becomes parties. Rule number 5. When a vowel becomes before the y, you just add s. Some examples include ray. Since there's an a before the y, you just make it rays with an s. Same thing with days, boys, and toys. Rule number 7. For most nouns ending in f or fe, you change the f to v and add s or es. So words like half becomes halves, life becomes lives, wife becomes wives, and elf becomes elves. Rule number 8. You just add s to a few nouns that end in f or fe. So some examples of these: beliefs, chiefs, roofs, and safes. Rule number 9 is that some nouns in the English language keep the exact same spelling. So sheep is still sheep, no matter how many sheep you're referring to. Some other examples are species, salmon, and aircraft. Rule number 10 is that some plurals are formed in irregular ways. You can change the spelling completely. For example, man becomes men, child becomes children, foot becomes feet, and mouse becomes meese. Just kidding, becomes mice. Rule number 11. Some nouns can have alternate plurals. For example, in the English language, we have the word penny, and to make it plural, you can talk about pence or pennies. One person becomes two or more persons or two people, and fish can remain fish or become fishes. Rule number 12 is that some nouns have no singular form. You have a pair of scissors, trousers, victuals, measles, pinchers, pants, shears, tongs, mumps, and tweezers. Rule number 13 is that some nouns are always singular, but some may be used as plural when different kinds are meant. For example, gold is always singular, no matter how much gold you're talking about. Same thing with silver, wheat, corn, and copper. We have 3 words here that you use as a plural only when meaning different types. For example, if you're talking about different kinds of coffees, you would add an s, different types of sugars, or different types of cottons. So what? Why do you need to know this stuff? Well, one main reason is that on the ISAT or MAP testing, these concepts will be on there, but also in everyday language, just to form the correct spelling of the words when you're referencing one or more people, places, things, or ideas. Let's take a look at some sentences. In this sentence, it says stars are made of hydrogen, helium, and small quantities of other elements. To make quantity plural, you drop the Y and add IES. Number 2, they create enormous amounts of energy when their hydrogen atoms join together and change into helium. We just added an S. Number 3, like human beings, stars go through a life cycle. Again, we added S. Number 4, stars fall into categories, mainly based on their size. In this case, we dropped the Y and added IES. Number 5, many stars shrink as they age into smaller bodies, known as white dwarfs. In this case, we drop the Y and add IES. Number 6, other stars, called supergiants, may end their lives in explosions called supernovas. In this case, we changed the F to V and added ES. Number 7, astronomers believe our sun is a middle-aged star. We added an S. Number 8, most of the sun's surface consists of waves of energy. We added S. Number 9, there are also dark patches on its surface called sunspots. We added ES. And number 10, the sun's powerful rays can damage your eyes. We added S. So today you learned to identify and use singular and plural nouns in your writing. And you also learned to be careful when spelling plural nouns.